Let's start this a few years after The Phantom Menace. In the 2016 Obi Wan Kenobi comics, Anakin admits to Obi Wan that he wishes to leave the Order as he feels his path lies elsewhere. Obi Wan tells this to Yoda, and the two discuss his promise to Qui-Gon at his deathbed. Obi Wan tells Yoda that he will follow Anakin if he chooses to leave the Order. In canon, after one last mission, Anakin decides to stay a Jedi. However, what if Anakin and Obi Wan left the Jedi Order? Anakin is 13 years old at this point and is mature for his age. However, his thoughts still dwell on his past, including slavery and his mother. Even though he's been training as a Jedi for 3 years, his emotions still get the better of him. The two leave the Order and decide to follow a new path. Anakin very much looked up to his master, and at the beginning didn't want to leave the Order with him, but after Obi-Wan was persistent, he agreed. When they left the Order, they had to return their lightsabers. Obi-Wan would continue to train Anakin, but all Obi-Wan knew were the Jedi teachings and would struggle to teach him as anything else. This would go on for a few weeks, but eventually, Anakin would mention this and tell Obi-Wan that they should explore the galaxy more and learn about the living force as a whole, not just the Jedi's point of view. Obi-Wan agrees and they begin exploring the galaxy. Anakin wants to experience the Force from all aspects and explains to Obi-Wan that this might include opening himself up to the dark side. Obi-Wan tries to convince Anakin against it and warns him of the dangers, but he knows he cannot interfere with Anakin's journey that he is set on. They travel to Lothal, a so-called light side nexus. As soon as they touch down, they begin to feel the light side flowing through the Force. They land next to the Jedi temple, but decide it's best simply to observe and not enter. They meditate outside for hours, and when they open their eyes, they're surrounded by a group of Loth wolves. They also notice that flora has grown significantly around them in this time. This experience makes Anakin realize the beauty within the light side. The light side is all about peace, prosperity, and life. He explains his new revelation to Obi-Wan, who is slightly taken aback. Anakin decides that they've learned enough and move on. They go to Korriban, the ancient homeworld of the Sith. They go to the Valley of Dark Lords, which contains numerous monuments that serve as crypts for ancient Sith Lords. When they touch down, they feel the cold, empty nature of the world. They walk between the large statues, and in the distance they see a massive animal killing and eating a smaller one. Anakin realizes what this symbolizes and mentions it to Obi-Wan. He tells him that although the animal is killed and eaten, it is the natural order of things. The bigger and stronger win and dominate over the weaker. Obi-Wan interjects and tries to tell Anakin that they need to have compassion and empathy. Anakin agrees, but tells Obi-Wan that without death and dominance, there is no future. Life cannot brew and create without destruction. Anakin feels like he's learned a lot, and Obi-Wan struggles to disagree with what he's saying and understands his view. They leave Korriban and fly around the galaxy to decide where to go next. However, they both fall into visions granted by the Force. Anakin experiences his mother on Tatooine, still working as a slave, making Anakin feel a deep anger and hatred. The vision then cuts to a different time, where Shmi is at the altar getting married and kissing an unknown man. She is sitting at a table, smiling happily with people Anakin didn't know. Obi-Wan sees his brother, whom he barely remembers. He's an older boy now, playing and having fun with his friends. The joy Obi-Wan feels from this is unmatched. The vision then cuts to his brother, making his way home where he is jumped and beaten up by a group of thugs. This ignites an intense hatred Obi-Wan didn't know possible. The vision ends and the two stare at each other shocked. They explain their visions to each other. They both think there must be a reason for this. Obi-Wan tells Anakin that he thinks they were granted their vision by the Force to learn the same thing. It's normal for a person to experience both love and hatred, and they should in fact be embraced. What's abnormal is to focus on either emotion and completely block out the experience of the other. Anakin elaborates on Obi-Wan's theory. He tells him that he thinks the Sith focusing on hatred and anger don't get to experience the good and love in life, whereas the Jedi who only focus on love and happiness ignore the dark times and live in ignorance and denial. Silence accompanies them when they hear Qui-Gon's voice speak to them. He tells them that together they've realized the true nature of the Force. The Jedi are wrong to block out emotions and attachments, whereas the Sith are wrong to focus solely on hatred and anger. If the two of these are combined, a balance in the middle is created where the Force truly lies. He elaborates and tells them that only after they realize this could he contact them. He explains how he achieved the ability to live past death, but now they are traveling their true path in the Force. They both put aside their direct Jedi teachings and are now more open to their emotions. Together they travel to Ilium, a snow-covered planet in the unknown regions. They go in search of kyber crystals to construct new lightsabers. They are both gifted with yellow crystals and construct yellow lightsabers. They continue this path for the next few years, learning more about their place in the Force, more about balance between the light and dark. Together they spend time with Anakin's family on Tatooine and go back once a year. They have spent a few weeks traveling around the galaxy specifically to strengthen their connection with animals. They have gone from planet to planet looking for the biggest with the strongest connection in the Force. Their next stop is Naboo, in search of the Vermok. When they decide on Naboo, Obi Wan can feel a change in Anakin's emotions and asks him about it. Anakin tells Obi Wan about his feelings for Padme, and Obi Wan tells him they can stop by during their journey. They successfully connect with the Vermok and are guests at Padme Amidala's home. The two are welcomed, and the three of them chat for hours about what they've been doing since they last spoke. Padme noted how mature Anakin was for his age. She asks them if they're free tomorrow, as she would like to show them the beauties of her planet. Obi-Wan tells her that he's busy, but Anakin is not. Anakin is 18 at the time, where he and Padme spend the day together. They travel around the planet and experience the unique nature of the Naboo culture as well as the terrain and wildlife. This is the most fun either have had in years, and Anakin kisses Padme at the end of the day and she reciprocates. They enter a public relationship, but the next time Padme travels to Coruscant, her ship is blown up in an attempt to assassinate her, but luckily it was only her decoy on the ship. Anakin and Obi-Wan travel to her immediately and enter the Supreme Chancellor's office where her safety is being discussed. The Jedi Masters present are shocked to see Anakin and Obi-Wan show up. They've only heard rumors about what they've been doing over the years. Palpatine didn't expect Anakin to show up and was even more shocked to sense a hint of the dark side in him. It is decided that Anakin and Obi-Wan will protect Padme and find out who the assassins are. Whilst they are there, Yoda and Mace ask to speak with them directly, but they turn them down and say their main focus is Padme and they can talk when she is safe. Another attempt is made on her life, but they find the assassin, but she's then killed. They track her killer back to Kamino, where they find the clone army made for the Republic. They notice Jango Fett must be the assassin, and together they capture him and Boba before they can escape. They check the ship's logs and notice Geonosis as the next destination. The Jedi Council is informed of the clone army placed at Sifo-Dyas' request, and they move on to Geonosis. They sneak into where Jango's ship was meant to go and discover a massive droid army being produced. They search more and overhear a group of people talking, led by Count Dooku. They are talking about the separatist movement, seceding from the Republic and beginning a war. The members of this council leave and only Dooku remains. Anakin and Obi-Wan approach Dooku and question him about what they've just heard. Dooku tries to connect with the two, all of them being leaders of the Jedi Order, but was displeased that they've had overheard his plans. He asks them whether they will tell the Jedi and the Republic what they've heard. Obi-Wan and Anakin are all about balance, and a war attempts to tip the balance to destroy peace. They are very anti-war and will do whatever they can to stop it. Dooku attempts to use Force Lightning on them, but they sense it and get out of the way. They ignite their lightsabers and engage Dooku in combat. In this timeline, both of them are far more powerful and together overpower Dooku. They attempted to capture him, but he gives them no other choice but to kill him. Palpatine is furious back on Coruscant. A key to his plans, Dooku, was eliminated. Dooku, being a Sith, now confirms that Maul must have been the apprentice, so the Jedi as well as Obi-Wan and Anakin begin looking for the Sith. Palpatine gives up using Anakin to carry out his goal when he disappeared all those years ago, but his recent re-emergence has complicated things. Also, his recent public relationship with Padme opens up the possibility of manipulating him to his side. Palpatine will need a new leader of the Separatist forces and decides that General Grievous along with Sand will be perfect for the role. However, General Grievous's construction hasn't completely finished and Dooku died right in the middle of it. All they need to do is infuse Sifo Dyas's blood into Grievous. However, Sifo Dyas's blood is still on Sereno in Count Dooku's office. Sidious decides this is a matter of utmost importance, so decides to carry it out himself. What Sidious didn't realize was that Yoda, Obi Wan and Anakin were also going to Sereno to see if they could figure out anything more about the Sith from Dooku's belongings. Yoda, Obi Wan and Anakin arrive in Dooku's throne room. They look around for anything that could help them and find a tube of blood on a desk which all the Jedi can sense must have belonged to someone Force sensitive. They hear someone coming and quickly hide out of sight behind the desk. In walks Sidious and Sand. Sidious tells the moon to look for the vial of blood, but the two cannot find it. Obi-Wan and Anakin wait to see if the Sith Lord reveals his true identity. They conclude it isn't there and begin to lead out, but Yoda uses the Force to close the door behind them. Sidious turns around in shock to see Obi-Wan, Anakin and Yoda ignite their blades and rush towards him. In panic, he sends lightning towards them which they block. He hurls Sand towards them and breaks the door down and speeds out of the room. They catch Sand and rush after the hooded figure whom they've deemed to be the Sith Master, but he's too fast for them. They take the vial of blood back to the Jedi Temple and Sand for questioning. Sand doesn't know the identity of Sidious, and he wasn't doing anything illegal, so they had to let him go. They did tell the Jedi, however, that the blood belonged to Sifo Dyas. Sidious needed Grievous, so he had to get the vial of blood. In desperation, he snuck into the Jedi Temple, stole it, killing the Force healers inside. He was undetected getting in, but his presence was sensed when he left. It took him 20 seconds to get back to his ship, but he was spotted whilst doing this. They report back to the Council that the ship was spotted heading towards the outskirts of Coruscant in the industrial region. Yoda and a couple of Masters go, as well as Obi-Wan and Anakin, but they just missed the unidentified ship leaving the atmosphere. They follow the ship and attempt to track it down. They've sent the ID of the ship to all Jedi around the galaxy, and it is spotted coming out of hyperspace around Geonosis. They waste no time and a good portion of the Council, as well as Anakin and Obi-Wan, head for Geonosis. They know if they capture the Sith Lord, they can stop the forthcoming war they all feel imminent. They arrive on the planet and sneak into where the ship landed. It is a different place to where Dooku was spotted last time. They split up and begin their search, Obi-Wan and Anakin staying together. They go deep underground and hear voices talking in a room. Standing in the center is the hooded figure and Sand with the vial of blood in his hand. They insert the blood into the tank in the middle of the room which contains Grievous. They open the door to get a better look, but are spotted. Sidious turns around in shock, which pulls his hood back off his face and reveals his true identity as Chancellor Palpatine to Obi-Wan and Anakin. Obi-Wan and Anakin hide their shock, and now everything clicks into place. Palpatine realizes his mistake and closes every door with the Force to lock them in. He can't let them escape knowing his true identity, but he hasn't heard much of these two Force users in a while and cannot gauge their level of power. He's taking a huge risk. They engage in combat. This is the first time Sidious has ever seen a yellow lightsaber. He is surprised at the level Obi-Wan and Anakin have achieved. Previously they would have been defeated by the Sith Lord, but now they've achieved balance in the Force. They have successfully defeated the Sith Lord, with Anakin delivering the finishing blow. Anakin and Obi-Wan are celebrated and thanked in the Senate for their service to the Republic. With the death of the Sith, corruption will finally begin to subside in the Senate and law and order will be restored. Many question the Jedi Order and their ability. Two outsiders who left the Order managed to defeat the Sith, which causes people to question their ways. The galaxy finally has peace. Anakin fulfilled his role as the Chosen One. He resides with Padme and the two start their family. Luke and Leia are born strong in the Force and the Skywalker lineage begins. Obi-Wan decides it's time to live for himself and goes to Mandalore and marries Satine Kryze to also start a family. Anakin finally has everything he ever wanted. He has found his place in the Force, he has a beautiful family with both Padme and his mother still being alive. This is the most powerful Anakin would ever have become. Thanks for watching guys, let me know what you think and consider becoming a member of the channel. Let me know what video you want next. What if Darth Plagueis killed Darth Sidious, or what if Ahsoka raised Luke and Leia?